Imagine winning 6 Champions Leagues in 13 years. I mean, literally presiding over one of the most successful eras in European football history and secretly attributing the foundational DNA of every single one of those trophies to a manager you fired a decade ago.
Right, which is exactly what Florentino Pérez has been doing.
Exactly. I'm your host, here with our resident tactical expert for another deep dive. And look, the honeymoon at the Bernabeu, it is officially over. Mourinho is back.
He is. And it's wild to see.
Yeah, the sharp suit is on, the track suit is in the garbage, and we are basically looking at a fundamental collision course. It's the ultimate battle between cold, ruthless corporate efficiency and modern superstar ego. Our mission today, we are tearing apart those tactical bombshells Mourinho just dropped.
Oh, there's so many.
Yeah, plus the absolute power mandate Florentino handed him, the insane logjam in our midfield, and why Barcelona's latest market move is just straight-up tactical suicide.
I gotta say, it's a culture shock. And honestly, it's one the club desperately needed because that old complacent hierarchy...
The country club atmosphere.
Exactly. Right? The country club that had infected the locker room over the last few seasons, it was reaching a breaking point. So when Mourinho sat down for that first press conference back in the capital, I mean, it wasn't an introduction. It was a hostile takeover.
See, I look at it as a warning shot to the locker room. Just a way to say, hey, the sheriff is back in town.
No. It wasn't a warning shot. The bullets are already flying.
You think so?
Absolutely. Mourinho was establishing a dictatorship right out of the gate because the club was just exhausted by player egos running the asylum.
Let's get right into the politics of this then, because the maneuvering behind the scenes, it completely destroys this lazy, recycled narrative that, that Mourinho left the club in ruins a decade ago.
People love that narrative, but it's totally false.
Right. And they forget that he laid the concrete for the Zidane and Ancelotti eras. And Florentino hasn't forgotten. He has secretly called Mourinho after every single recent Champions League victory.
Which is just the ultimate validation. I mean, when the most powerful president in world football continues to call a former manager after every major success.
Every single one.
He's acknowledging that Mourinho's architecture is still holding the building up.
Yeah.
But you have to look at how Florentino views Real Madrid right now. He runs this club like a massive multinational corporation.
Right.
And right now, that corporation doesn't need a tactician as much as it desperately needs a ruthless CEO.
A CEO, sure, but a CEO still has to manage a board of directors. And let's be honest, Mourinho has historically burned bridges with executives just as fast as he burns them with players.
Right.
I mean, you're bringing in a wartime general during peacetime. It's like, he's a warlord, and warlords don't usually care about the corporate budget, right? They just want weapons.
I think you're completely misreading his evolution there. And frankly, so is anyone who thinks this is the Mourinho of 2012. Because it's not just about fear and bridge burning anymore. It's about aligned corporate efficiency. Mourinho is actually collaborating heavily right now with Juni Calafat and José Ángel Sánchez.
Okay, yeah, that is a shift.
Right, and you also have to factor in Enrique Pérez's massive push behind the scenes to get him back. Mourinho understands the club's financial strategy better than he ever did in his first stint. Look at the Bernardo Silva acquisition.
The free transfer.
Exactly. He accepted Bernardo Silva because he knows the financial parameters. If this were the old Mourinho...
Oh, he would have demanded a 150 million euro signing.
100%. He would have demanded some impossible transfer just to feed his own ego. Instead, he looked at the board, understood the free transfer market, and basically said, yes, this fits my system and your budget.
Wow.
That is CEO behavior.
Yeah.
He is acting as the ultimate heat shield for Florentino, He's making the brutal decisions so the president doesn't have to deal with some winger crying about being subbed off in the 70th minute.
I hear that, but let's talk about those wingers for a second. Because the offensive dilemma we are looking at would give literally any other manager cold sweats.
Oh, it's a nightmare.
This is where the whole corporate efficiency model is going to crash headfirst into reality. I mean, how on earth do you fit Kylian Mbappé, Vinicius Jr., Jude Bellingham, and Diomande on the same pitch?
It's crowded.
Crowded. You're talking about 4 guys who all inherently believe the entire attack should funnel completely through them.
And Mourinho didn't shy away from it, to be fair. He explicitly pointed out in the press room, he said, Tuchel found a spot for Bellingham, Deschamps found a spot for Mbappé, and Ancelotti found a spot for Vini.
Right.
But Mourinho has to play them together. And he immediately followed it up with a threat.
Oh, yeah, the non-negotiables quote.
Exactly. He stated publicly, we won't negotiate the non-negotiables. Players must know how to deal with their frustrations.
Which means the rotation is going to be absolutely brutal. You cannot have one player logging 50 games and another playing 10. And honestly, this is exactly why I think Mourinho must bench a superstar by week 2.
Wait, week 2?
Yes, by week 2, just to assert absolute dominance. Send Bellingham to the bench or sit Vinicius down.
That's crazy.
No, do exactly what Xabi Alonso did when he benched Vinicius in Oviedo last year. You spark the fire early, you make a psychological power play, and you show the locker room that absolutely nobody is untouchable.
I vehemently disagree with you there. That is a massive assumption about how modern man management actually works.
But it sets the tone.
You do not bench a 30-goal-a-season player just for a psychological power play. It's not asserting dominance. That's how you lose a locker room before September even starts.
You really think so?
Yes. You don't manage global superstars like they're misbehaving teenagers.
So what triggers the benching then? Because someone has to sit. They can't all play 90 minutes every game.
You bench them if and only if they don't press.
Yeah.
Mourinho made the mechanics of his system crystal clear. All 11 players must defend when the team is pushed back.
Right.
If this front four just wants to attack, they have to win the ball high up the pitch. He isn't asking Vinicius or Mbappé to turn into prime Paolo Maldini and, make sliding tackles in their own box.
Right. He just wants effort out of possession.
He's asking them to cut off passing lanes. If you are supposed to block the opposing center back's angle to the pivot and you jog instead of sprint, then you sit. The tactical structure dictates the hierarchy, not some arbitrary show of force.
But put yourself in Mourinho's shoes for a second. Do you really see Mbappé and Vini executing a high-intensity synchronized counterpress for 90 minutes in a rainy, miserable away game?
If they want to stay on the pitch, they will do it.
Because if they don't, and he drops them, the media circus in Madrid will be apocalyptic.
Sure, but Mourinho won't hesitate to pull the trigger. But honestly, the real problem isn't even the attack.
You mean the midfield?
Yes. Even if those four figure out how to press together, the absolute traffic jam in the middle of the park is suffocating.
It is entirely unsustainable. We are looking at an overloaded midfield that defies all logic. Right now, Madrid has 7 players fighting for 3 spots.
It's absurd.
Think about this list for a second. You've got Bernardo Silva, who was literally signed to be the creative hub. Then you have Tchouaméni, Camavinga, Fede Valverde, Arda Güler, Thiago Petarch, and Jude Bellingham dropping deep. 7 players.
Yep.
And Mourinho doesn't even want another midfielder. Behind closed doors, he is screaming for a center back.
The squad balance is terrifyingly tilted forward.
Mm-hmm.
But within that midfield logjam, I think the most fascinating subplot is the Eduardo Camavinga project.
Oh, man, the tension around Camavinga right now is palpable. If you go to the Bernabeu, you can hear the murmurs in the stands turning to groans.
They're losing patience.
The fans are totally losing patience because of these basic repetitive errors. He loses the ball in transition. His body orientation when receiving a pass under pressure is just consistently terrible.
It is.
And let's not forget the context here. Carlo Ancelotti, a man who basically has the patience of a saint, was once so completely desperate that he subbed Camavinga off at halftime.
That halftime substitution is burned into the memory of every Madridista. It was a massive red flag.
Huge.
But there is a total disconnect right now between the fan base and the new manager. Because Mourinho actually loves Camavinga more than the fans do right now.
I find that incredibly hard to believe. Mourinho demands tactical perfection. He demands 0 unforced errors in his own half. Camavinga's entire game right now is built on taking unnecessary risks in dangerous areas.
Right, but Mourinho looks at Camavinga and he sees raw, unrefined physical and technical perfection. The foundation is world-class. It's just the decision-making that is flawed.
Okay.
So Mourinho is going to completely strip Camavinga's game down to the studs. He's going to turn him into a project.
Right, but what does stripping it down actually mean in a practical sense? Because when I watch him, his hardware is a Formula One car, but his software is still running on dial-up.
That's a good way to put it.
He isn't scanning the field before he receives the ball. So by the time it actually gets to his feet, he has to process the opponent's movement in real time, the engine stalls, and he gets dispossessed.
And that is exactly the glitch Mourinho is going to fix. He's going to do it by removing all complexity from his game.
How?
He is establishing 3 fundamental, non-negotiable rules for Camavinga.
Okay, what are they?
Number 1, proper body orientation. He must receive the ball on his back foot so he can see the entire pitch rather than facing his own goal.
Makes sense.
Number 2, a perfect secure first touch that kills the ball completely. And number 3, laying it off simply to a teammate to retain possession.
Just simple passes.
Exactly. Mourinho will flat out ban him from attempting a line-breaking dribble or a complex diagonal switch until those 3 basic actions are executed flawlessly every single time.
I understand the theory. I really do. But this is Real Madrid. You don't get 3 seasons to learn how to control a football and pass it 5 yards.
It don't take 3 seasons.
The Bernabeu will eat him alive if he keeps giving the ball away in the center circle. I mean, time is running out.
Look, I wouldn't bet against Mourinho here. He is the ultimate mechanic for broken midfielders.
That's true.
If Camavinga drops his ego, accepts that he needs to relearn the absolute basics of the position, Mourinho will build him into a monster. He will become an untouchable asset. But the player has to surrender to the process completely.
Well, that process needs to accelerate immediately. Because we are looking at a ticking clock, and the season is already chewing teams up.
Oh, the schedule is brutal.
We have a gauntlet right out of the gate, 4 games in 13 days, leading straight into the chaos of the new Champions League format.
It's exhausting just looking at it.
And this upcoming game against Espanyol at Canal, that is a massive neon-lit trap waiting to spring on this unbalanced squad.
It has all the makings of a classic ambush.
Yeah.
I mean, Espanyol just crushed Levante 3-0, and their confidence is through the roof.
Their attack is flying. Edu, Exposito, and Urkoga are incredibly dangerous in transition right now. And if our midfield is caught pushing too high, they will punish us.
Yeah, they will.
Now, yes, their defense is shaky, and Dimitrovic in goal can definitely be a liability, but Cornella is a hostile, heavy environment. And honestly, just thinking about it brings up a visceral nightmare memory for me.
Oh, I know exactly what you're going to say. The Mbappé tackle.
The Mbappé tackle. A criminal knee-high challenge at Cornella that only resulted in a yellow card from the referee.
Muniz Ruiz.
Yes, Alejandro Muniz Ruiz. I still cannot believe he stayed on the pitch after that. It completely derailed our momentum in the league that year.
It really did.
And if something like that happens this week, if we get into a scrappy, violent game and someone takes a swing at Vinicius or Mbappé and Muniz Ruiz waves play on, Mourinho will explode.
Oh, without a doubt.
He will get his first red card of the season in about 4 seconds.
He will spontaneously combust on the touchline. But you have to realize that is exactly the kind of siege mentality he actively wants to build.
Us against the world.
Exactly. He wants the players to see him taking a bullet for them, fighting the officials, creating that dynamic. But the real tension right now isn't just on the pitch. It's in the boardroom. They are playing a massive game of financial chicken.
Because of the center back situation.
Bingo. We have those 7 midfielders, right. Well, the transfer window clock is ticking down to 0.
Right.
Will the club manage to offload someone to fund that desperately needed center back? Because if we go into this 13-day gauntlet and one of our starting center backs tweaks a hamstring, this entire tactical setup derails.
It all falls apart.
They need the funds from a midfield departure to reinforce the backline. It is the one glaring, potentially fatal vulnerability in an otherwise terrifying squad.
It is a massive risk. But if you want to see what happens when a club completely ignores squad balance and financial intelligence, we just have to look at the absolute meltdown happening in Catalonia.
Oh, it is a catastrophe of their own making.
Oh, it is genuinely fascinating to watch a club self-destruct in real time. Barcelona's squad right now is a massively unbalanced roster of maybe 19 valid first-team players.
Yeah.
19.
That's so thin.
And they're leaning so heavily on literal kids to bail them out. Bernal, Fermin, Gavi, Pedri. It's like a highly paid daycare center out there.
It really is.
And instead of fixing their foundational issues, what did they do? They blew their entire budget on Rodri.
Which is just the definition of letting your rival dictate your strategy.
Exactly. They signed Rodri out of a pure, unadulterated inferiority complex just to steal him from Madrid.
Yep.
We had 7 midfielders. We didn't even urgently need him. But Barcelona broke the bank just to say they beat Florentino to a signature. It is emotional squad building, not logical squad building.
And tactically, it is a ticking time bomb.
Right.
If you look at the mechanics of how Hansi Flick plays, this signing makes 0 sense. Flick's philosophy is vertical, high-octane, chaotic German football.
Heavy metal football.
Exactly. He wants his center backs to bypass the midfield entirely. He wants the ball launched over the top and into the final third in 3 seconds flat.
Right, and Rodri is the exact opposite of that. He's a metronome.
Rodri is programmed by years of Spanish football to receive the ball, pause, put his foot on it, attract 2 defenders, and dictate the tempo.
Great.
He slows the game down to control it. If Flick is instructing his defense to bypass the midfield, your €90 million signing is literally just a spectator watching the ball fly over his head.
Wow.
It is a fundamental clash of philosophies. Flick demands verticality, and Rodri demands control. When those two ideas collide, it's going to explode.
And even if Rodri does get on the ball, who is he supposed to pass to? They let Robert Lewandowski and Varane go.
They have no one.
They have no pure striker.
Yeah.
Zero. They are going into a brutal La Liga campaign relying on Rafinha or Lamine Yamal as a false nine.
Which, to be fair, works beautifully when you're winning 4-0 at home against a team that opens up and gives you space. But that is not how you win a 38-game league campaign.
No. To win La Liga, you need an ugly, scrappy striker who can win you a tight game 1-0 in the 80th minute on a rainy Sunday against Osasuna when the pitch is tearing up.
Exactly.
You need a killer in the box who can finish half a chance, and they don't have one because they blew their budget on a midfielder they don't need, just to spite a rival who didn't even care.
But this brings us to the most brilliant piece of boardroom politics in recent memory, honestly. And it shows exactly why Florentino Pérez is operating on a completely different level. We have to talk about the Julian Alvarez situation.
Oh, the phantom wall. This is just Machiavellian genius.
It really is.
Barcelona desperately wanted Julian Alvarez to fill that number 9 void. But Florentino Pérez and Atletico Madrid's president, Enrique Cerezo, basically colluded to absolutely price Barcelona out of the market.
It is brilliant. Florentino and Cerezo, despite the intense Madrid derby rivalry, they both understand the financial ecosystem of Spanish football perfectly. They saw Barcelona sniffing around Alvarez, so they artificially slapped an absurd €150 million price tag on him.
A completely fabricated valuation.
Entirely fabricated. But by setting that as the benchmark for an elite striker, they left Barcelona financially paralyzed.
Because Barca had just spent their cash on Rodri.
Right. So Barca looked around for a number 9, saw this massive $150 million wall built by Madrid and Atletico, and realized they had absolutely no funds left to compete. They were boxed out of the market by a ghost.
It's beautiful. So look, Barcelona is heading into a grueling season with 19 players, a midfield that actively contradicts their manager's philosophy, and absolutely no striker, all because they let their inferiority complex dictate their wallet.
It's grim for them.
Meanwhile, at the Bernabeu, we have a ruthless CEO manager who is ready to go to war, backed by a president who pulls the strings of the entire European market.
But if this works, if Florentino and Mourinho successfully turn Real Madrid into a cold, emotionless, hyper-efficient corporation where the manager is just a CEO executing a financial and tactical spreadsheet.
Right.
It brings up a massive existential question for the club.
And that is exactly what I want to leave you with today as we wrap up this deep dive. We all grew up on the romance of Real Madrid. You know, the Galacticos, the individual brilliance overturning tactical logic, the sheer unbridled ego of the greatest players on earth doing whatever they wanted because they were simply better than everyone else.
Yeah.
If Mourinho succeeds in stripping all that away, demanding that Vinicius and Mbappé become cogs in a pressing machine, and treating the club like a Fortune 500 company, does that mean the romantic, superstar-driven Galactico era that defined this club's global identity is officially dead forever?
It's a scary thought.
Yeah.
It's like the death of romance for the sake of total dominance.
Think about that. You absolutely cannot take your eyes off this season. It is going to be historic, and it is going to be incredibly chaotic.
Yeah, without a doubt.
Which is exactly why you need to be subscribed to the Bernabeu Notes YouTube channel, our Instagram, and our TikTok right now. If you want to survive the absolute madness of this campaign, you need our analysis in your feed every single day.
Honestly, if you are watching our tactical breakdowns on TikTok, you are going to be completely lost when Barcelona inevitably finishes 3rd and fires Flick by February.
It's coming.
Consider it mandatory viewing.
Hit subscribe, join the trenches with us, and get ready for the ride. We'll see you on the next deep dive.